I've also heard that you're red-green colorblind.
I only knew this because last year, a couple of times, you would look at my tie, you'd be like, hey, what color is that tie? And so you've obviously had this your whole life.
Sometimes I wondered about the color. Sometimes I just didn't like it.
You didn't like the tie? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Especially this guy.
Yeah. We're back for a little show we like to call Absolute Non-Sens. It's the Mendes-Star combo.
It is. We're back.
Star Mendes? Mendes-Star? What sounds better?
I think Mendes-Star, it goes, you have the S at the end of the name goes right into the
It's
S
all
of the
one
star.
word? Mendes-Star?
Mendes-Star.
Mendes-Star?
Mendes-Star or the dash. Still, it flows better, no? Mendes-Star than Star Mendes.
Stardez?
Stardez. Mendar.
Maybe we should be workshopping these things before we come on to the
Probably.
pod and start talking. But we're excited for another episode, the drop of our little podcast. Coming up this week, we've got the head coach of your Ottawa Senators, Travis Green, a kind of fun, candid, he doesn't really give off nonsense vibes.
No,
let's be honest.
He
we
doesn't.
could be honest. I think Travis would probably, when he sat in his chair, he was like, "What are you guys going to ask me? You're going to keep it serious." But I think we got some stuff out of the coach that we're excited to share with our viewers and listeners.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Great conversation. Again, a little bit more of a delve into his career as a player and then kind of going into coaching a little bit. Really, really interesting stuff from Travis. Yeah,
so we'll get to that. But first, it's time to open up the mailbag. Once again, not sure why this falls on my lap. I'm not saying you're not busy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when you watch other podcasts and other shows, the more senior, I'm going to call myself the more senior seasoned reporter. He's not the guy sifting through emails. That should be the junior. I'm going to go ahead and call you the Cub reporter.
That's fair.
He should be
Cub. Jeez.
Cub reporter. Should be out there sifting through the emails, but he didn't. And that's okay.
Hey, if you task me with it, I'll probably do it still.
I will.
But I did do a little bit of the homework that you signed me from last episode, which was go into Drake Batherson's Wikipedia and see or add him to the Fort Wayne, people who are born in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
And he was there already. He showed up this time.
Okay.
So
he's there.
My homework assignment was done for me.
Jenna Fisher and
Drake
Batherson.
Yeah.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're actually doing
a little bit of work.
Doing your work. So let's open up the mailbag. This one is, hi, Ian and Jackson. Big fan of the pod. You guys are great together. I've had a lot of fun with the set changes that we see each episode. I love seeing the Tim Stützle jersey drawing that first episode, especially because I was the lucky fan who won the frame drawing through the contest you guys had on social media. On a side note, I might need a certificate of authenticity from you so I can prove it was the one on the wall behind Tim in the episode. So certificate of authenticity, like who's signing that?
Oh, I have no clue.
You?
It shouldn't be me.
Yeah,
probably.
you're not authentic,
I'm not authentic
enough. For sure.
Not.
I don't think it's me.
No.
Is it Tim? Like, we can't ask Tim. Is it our set designer, Ben Coles?
Maybe. It's got to be one of us. I feel like Timmy's the most justified one, but
Certificate of authenticity.
Yeah,
but
interesting.
Amy, who's written in, and she won that, says, I noticed in that last episode with Drake Batherson, it looks like there's a Labubu on the shelf in the corner with the picture of someone's face taped on it. Is that what it is? And if so, what's the backstory? Keep up the great work. Go Sens go. That's from Amy. So
awesome. Thank you, Amy.
I'll reach over and pick it up.
Yep.
For the people that are viewing this podcast, I'll be able to show it to them.
Yep.
Describe for the people just listening, what is this, Jackson, that I'm reaching for?
So we used this Labubu for the schedule release video, I believe, and it didn't have a face planted onto it, basically. It is my face with the Labubu mouth. I went on vacation for 2 weeks this summer and came back, and my face was on the Labubu. How it got there, I don't really know.
How and why?
How and why? Yeah. I guess someone thinks I'm a Labubu.
Okay.
So
there's the answer.
There's the answer to it. But yeah, I'm glad that everyone's pointing out the little knickknacks that we've got going on back here. It's obviously a great set, and we try to shake it up as much as we can. And it's great that people are noticing it. Just leave it to the side for now,
you know what?
right?
That Labubu is not going to stand on its own. I'm going to put it back. We'll put it back after.
Yeah.
We got that, the gravy boat.
Yeah.
The infamous gravy boats that were locked in a Halifax shipping dispute last year. That's there. That's the weirdest, since in my time in the job, still remains the weirdest press release I've ever written. Never thought I would have to write that anything was locked in a shipping, in a harbor for a shipping dispute.
Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Like, so out of whack. You must have, while you were writing that, I can't even imagine what's going through your mind. Like, what is going on here? Crazy.
Yeah. Shipping dispute, shipping argument. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, a couple of other. Kevin Robitaille writes in, guys, I would like to say, love the podcast. Thanks for doing it. It's great to know our Sens players a little bit better off the ice. With that being said, we absolutely need to hear more from Artem Zub.
Okay.
Zuby on the pod.
Interesting. We can get that going hopefully at some point. Got to talk to him about it a little bit.
Yeah. I heard rumor has it that you had a pretty good conversation with Zuby recently.
Yeah, we
had
had
kind of just an off the
record. Yeah, for sure. I think that's
if it's
what
off
you
the
got
record, then we can't ask you what happened.
Well, yeah,
in the conversation.
no, it was a good conversation, more hockey related. But yeah, I would love to hear more from Zuby. He's such a great guy, right? Such a great guy to have on the team and to talk with.
Okay,
sure.
This one comes in about the Drake Batherson episode. Just watched that podcast, loved it. His mom's a teacher, his sister is a professional hockey player, and yet most of them still play the guitar. What an amazing family. More importantly, besides being a great golfer, I was impressed with Drake's party planning skills. Sent from my iPad.
Oh, no.
Alicia Starr.
And you told me before we started recording
I
that we didn't have
I lied. Your
an
grandma
Alicia
did write
Starr
in. She watched the
message.
episode and she liked it.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad. Yes.
But we did have a contest in the Drake Batherson episode, which was we have the Tim Hortons gift, the Tim Hortons. I can speak. Hortons hockey player. What is wrong with
It's
me?
okay. It's okay. Collect yourself.
Tim
You're good.
Hortons hockey card.
There we go.
Signed by Drake Batherson that we're going to give away on this episode after we asked you to write in. What is another sport that a former senator could play or participate in? See, when I stop and I speak normally, it's almost like I've done this.
Yep, it is.
But yeah, I was getting a little ahead of myself.
It's okay. You got excited. You're so excited to give this card
away.
away.
Can I tell you why I actually tripped up?
Tell me.
When our kids were little, our oldest daughter couldn't say Tim Hortons, and she called it Tim Portons.
Okay.
And so I felt like I was saying Tim Hortons there, and I'm like, I think I just said Tim Hortons.
That's so relatable, though. It's the same with me. Like when you hear little things that you think you're saying, and you're like, oh, I didn't say that right. I got to restart.
Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to rifle through a handful of emails that came in. What former senator or current senator would be great at another sport? Let's get the ball rolling here. Sean Foisey writes into the show. And again, you can always hit us up, communications@ottawasenators.com. Jackson doesn't know what the email address is or how to access it, but I do. Communications@ottawasenators.com. I'm going to get you access to that.
You should,
see. Hey, Ian and Jackson, been loving the podcast. Have an answer for your question. Obvious one for me. It's that story that always is around that Daniel Alfredson could have gone pro in table tennis in either hand.
Either hand.
What
wow.
a legend. That comes in from Sean. Okay.
I think that's a common one. Did you get multiple ones
of
those?
Yeah. I just love this name, Jimmy Jolliker.
Oh, wow.
So I just
Jimmy
feel
Jolliker.
so delightful saying the name Jimmy Jolliker. Don't you? Like, hey, Jimmy Jolliker writes in. Like, I feel really happy saying the name Jimmy Jolliker. Jimmy Jolliker writes in and said, Alfie playing any kind of racket sport. I suspect you guys would have lots of submissions on that. But I'll say Craig Anderson. Deep love of racing. I remember watching him with a video of his racing sim set up years ago, so I'll say that.
Interesting.
Comes in from Jimmy Jolliker.
Because
I feel like I just have to say his name.
That's a good one.
Okay. James Murray writes in. I like this one, and this is we're gonna kick this old school for you, Jackson. You're not gonna know this name.
No.
This is a guy who played in the original version of the Ottawa Senators, the first year of the team in 1992-93.
What a pull.
So we're talking old school Civic Center. Does this name ring a bell? Hank Lammons.
I don't think it does.
And that's okay. He'd only played, I think, 30 or 40 games with the Senators. But did you know that Hank Lammons was actually in the Olympics?
Really? Wow.
For sailing.
Wow.
Like, I feel like if we had a current member of the Senators, oh, by the way, in the summer, like he's sailing at the Olympics, I feel like we'd be all over that.
For sure. Okay? That's crazy.
James writes in, you know what? He was an accomplished sailor. He competed for Canada at the 92 Olympics, a 2-time world champion in the Finn class. I don't know what that means. Could be making up stuff. 15-time national champion, Ontario Athlete of the Year in 1990, and the Sail Canada Athlete of the Year 3 different times. So Hank Lammons.
That's crazy.
Right?
I never knew that. That's so interesting.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I'm just ripping through these because we've got so many.
Yeah.
Bella writes into the show, Sens player that I think could go pro in another sport, Tim Stützle. And I think he could be a baseball player because of that out of the air goal that he scored in Sweden.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the next episode. Comes in from Bella.
That's all hand-eye coordination.
That's all
right?
hand-eye.
Yeah, for sure.
I have this one, Jack.
Yep.
First name that comes to mind when you ask this question would have been the late, great Ray Emery. And boxing. His penchant for the sweet science was well documented. As a fan, I was always impressed at how he handled himself in that department. P.S. Say hi to Jackson's grandma for me. That is from Jack. And
Done,
we
Jack.
did that, okay?
Yep.
But here's the winner.
Okay.
And why do I have 2 sheets of paper? Because you didn't know this, and
Yep.
I'm throwing you kind of into
the
the mix.
bus.
But I trust you so much as a young broadcaster. I know you can pull this off.
Okay.
It's role playing.
Is it really?
Rob Scott. I'm going to give you a script. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm
gonna
ready.
Give you a script. You're
Okay.
only going to read what's in bold.
Okay.
You're going to read what's in bold, and I am going to play the role of me.
Okay.
Rob has written in and says, guys, I have a full transcript of a recent conversation between Ian Mendes and several members of the Ottawa Senators organization as they try and figure out if anybody would excel in a different sport. P.S. Reader discretion is advised.
Okay. Thank you.
I did scroll through it to make sure there's no swearing.
Yep. Nothing. No
Expletives.
profanity. Yep. Perfect.
None of that.
Yep.
So ready to go. So
I'm ready.
I'll be me, and you'll be the person
Okay.
in bold.
In bold.
Okay.
There's a couple here.
There's a
so-
there's a
yeah,
handful of
few.
different.
Yeah.
This was the role you were born to play.
Okay.
About 8 different roles. So we're going to
Perfect.
start. Hey, Drake Batherson. I know you're an excellent golfer. Do you think any Sens or former Sens could excel as an athlete in a different sport?
Yeah. No.
What? Is that your answer?
Yeah. No.
Tim Stutzla, do you understand what Drake's talking about?
100%.
Okay. Alex Daig, I've asked 2 different players a simple question, and I've got nothing.
Nobody remembers who was number 2, says Daigle.
I don't think you need to add, says Daig.
Okay.
I
Sorry.
said.
It was clear. It was
Alex
clear.
Daig.
Wanted to be sure.
Okay. Hey, Alfie, all I want is a simple answer. Is that asking too much? Do you think any Sens player could excel in a different sport?
Probably not.
Drake, come on. Seriously?
Yeah. No.
Oh my gosh. Andy Sutton, help me out here. This is an easy question. What kind of answers are these?
So you're an expert?
Oh my gosh. Dominic Hasek, help me out. I'm totally confused. When can somebody answer this question for me?
Maybe Friday?
And there you have it. And scene.
Cut.
That's me speaking
Wow.
with Dominic Hasek, Andy Sutton, Drake Batherson, Daniel Alfredson, Alex Daig, Tim Stutzla.
All people you've crossed paths with over the course of your
yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
And just before we get to Travis Green,
career. Yep.
Dominic Hasek, maybe Friday. That was
Maybe
the way
Friday.
he would say it.
Yes.
Maybe Friday.
Yeah.
Was because we would ask him in that 06 season, are you
Yeah.
ready to play? And he would always say, maybe Friday. Maybe Friday.
Part of that
So.
that Sens verbiage that only people would understand who are Sens fans.
There's certain
right?
words. Adductor is another one.
Adductor,
I thought
yeah.
you were going to come up with a Sens, not thesaurus. What's
No,
the word?
it was like a scroll, right? We're gonna hang a scroll.
Glossary.
Glossary. Yeah,
Thesaurus
exactly.
is, yeah.
Love that. Well, that was a great submission, Rob.
Yeah,
Love it.
and I
Yeah.
feel like Rob should win.
Yep.
So here's the deal, Rob. I'm going to forward your email to Jackson Starr.
Perfect.
And he's finally going to do some admin work around here. He's going to get you that card.
Perfect. We'll
That's
set it up.
Yeah, we'll
Love
set it up.
That's awesome.
Okay, and speaking of setting things up, we'll set this one up. Here's our conversation with Sens head coach, Travis Green.
The Absolute Non-Sens podcast is furnished by Dalla Decor, the official luxury furniture partner of the Ottawa Senators. Ian and I sit on these super comfortable chairs every episode, and we thank our lucky stars, wink wink, that we have such a great partner in Dalla Decor.
All right, I got to tell you, Jackson, of all the guests that we have on season 1 of the pod,
Yep.
this is the one where, let's be honest, I think you're the most intimidated.
You think so?
Yeah, I know
You think
so.
so?
Mo-
Oh,
Rightfully
okay.
so.
Rightfully so.
Wow.
It's the head coach, Travis Green.
Thanks for coming on.
Hey,
Welcome.
thanks for having me, Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great to have you. It's
Pleasure to
great
be on your podcast.
have- Thank you. My
Yeah,
part.
it is. It's
Rising Star.
Oh,
Rising
geez.
Star is born.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories of last year, we were in Detroit, and this guy's story from his hometown paper makes the press
Oh
clippings.
yeah, I think I remember that.
And you walk by, and you're like, "Hey, prime time." But I got to ask you, were you intimidated? Like, this is his first year as a reporter last season.
Last year. Yeah.
Last year was his
Yeah.
first year. Intimidating?
I think so. At first, for sure. Like sitting in the press room, I mean, you're pretty straight face when you go speak to the media upstairs. And, I think that like a little bit intimidating for me coming in. Taller guy, too.
Yeah. I could see how on first year on your job, everything would be a little bit intimidating, but hopefully that changed as the year went on.
Don't worry.
We had a little fun, had some
We
laughs.
did have some laughs. It was good.
You mellowed out, I mellowed out.
A little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
A little bit. You got me on a good day today, so.
Oh, I love it.
Perfect.
We don't have game face on right now.
No, then that's the whole point of this pod. No game related questions, no strategical questions, anything like that. It's funny when when you got hired by the Sens was May of 2024. I was still working as a reporter with The Athletic, and I reached out to some of my colleagues in Vancouver to ask about, hey, give me some lowdown on Travis Green. And universally, Travis came back. Thomas Drance, Farhan Lalji, some of the people I reached out, they loved working with you, which I was actually surprised by. And I remain surprised by.
Good news or good to hear or bad to hear.
Yeah, no, and I'm wondering, like, for you, because I now talked to some other younger reporters too that actually said they felt like Travis Green mentored me a little bit. What was that like in Vancouver to have that relationship with the media and to essentially serve as a mentor or a bouncing board for some of those people?
Well, it's nice to hear.
Yeah.
I think the surprise part is probably, a lot of people see me when we're in game mode, after game. They don't, they don't get privy to see how we operate behind cameras. I think over time in Vancouver, I got to know a lot of the reporters just, as time went on, and some of them better than others. And I think just developed relationships where we could talk openly about, I guess, the job itself, and maybe the way I am. And I think it just turned into where we had banter back and forth about, how I could maybe help them more or how they could make it, so I don't want to say on guard, but, you get to know the person personally a little bit, and I think that helps.
So a lot of that is really just relationship building and building up trust. And that probably doesn't just go for media. That probably goes for your players, your fellow coaches, like just building trust with people.
Well, it's a big part of coaching, I believe. I don't think not just coaching, but, friendships, everything really in life, being able to trust a person in what you're talking about or what you're doing. As far as coaching goes, I really believe that the players, they know when you care and when they don't. And part of that care is being able to trust you. And that leads into, how do you keep players accountable? How do you coach them? How do you teach them? And I think it always starts with them being able to know that you're being honest and they can trust you for what you're saying. And I think, when it comes to the media, they're coaches have their guard up, and sometimes your words can get twisted a little bit if you don't say something perfect. And I'm no different. I am definitely a little bit guarded when I'm when I'm doing an interview after a game and emotions are hot, and whether you win or you lose. And I'm probably a lot different, if you guys have seen, off camera than on camera.
I kind of on that note a little bit, but like talking about relationships and, getting relationships with players, coaches, friends, and that is, who's stricter? Travis Green, the coach, Travis Green, the parent?
Oh man, probably Travis Green, the coach. As far as a parent, I'm really lucky. My kids are, knock on wood, they're not troublemakers. I don't have to be strict with them. They tend to do the right things all the time, and I'm really lucky that way.
Can't say the same about the guys over here.
I think coaches can be hard. That's part of our job, is to challenge players to push them outside of their comfort zone. I truly believe that, if you want to be your best, the best version of yourself, it's not easy to do it on your own. And, I think the best coaches push their players to be their best versions, and they come up with different ways for every player because it's not the same. But I'll also say that with our group here, they are very coachable. It's not probably. It is the best group of when it comes to coachability, the best group that I've coached in any league, and that always makes your job a lot more enjoyable, and ultimately it makes it easier because I know it. I wouldn't have liked to coach myself at times, and there are players that are more of a challenge to coach than others. And our group is very coachable. They want to be coached, and they will accept criticism, but you can also be positive and give them positive reinforcement, which we do. And they're open to learning and improving.
You just said you probably wouldn't have wanted to have coached yourself.
In ways.
In ways.
Yeah.
But Al Arbor did coach you
Yeah.
when you broke in the early 90s. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what was it like, do you think, for Al Arbor to coach a young Travis Green?
Yeah, challenging probably at times. I think every coach that I've had probably would have different versions. I almost feel like there was different versions of me as my career progressed. The younger version of me when I first started was probably too cocky. And then there was a version of me that probably wasn't confident enough at times. Didn't understand at a point in my career what I really was or what the best version of me was as a player as far as how I had to play. And I think ultimately when I decided to just start playing to win, that was my best version. All I cared about was winning, and the personal stuff, I wasn't so concerned about. And I think that's just being not insecure about yourself in the league and finally realizing that you are in the league. And, necessarily points didn't matter. It was just winning and losing.
You got to have a pretty good story about Al in there somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
back to Al. Al, when you talk about intimidating coaches, for me as a young player, he intimidated me, and not on purpose. Just he was quite a presence. He was a legend. And when he walked into the room, he demanded or commanded respect, I think is the better word. Had a big deep voice, and yet I might have learned my biggest lesson from Al, and I probably didn't know it at the time, but I've told this story a couple times where we were battling to make the playoffs. It was my rookie year, so everything's new to me, and we lost to, I believe it was the Bruins, Boston 4-2, and I was like -3 or 4. They had Adam Oates, Cam Neely, Ray Bourque, some really good players, and I was our checking centerman, and they went off that night. And I was devastated after the game. You right away you start thinking, I'm going to be sent to the minors. I'm going to lose I'm going to be scratched, whatever. I was still living in the hotel, and it probably wasn't 5 to 10 minutes after the game where I was still in my skates and just, I was feeling down on myself. And Al came up and he was standing in front. I could see his feet in front of me. I was still staring at the floor, and I think quickly I felt like, man, I'm setting a record for being sent to the minors after a game. And, he just sat and had a talk with me, and more or less, told me that, A, it wasn't a good night, obviously, but you're playing against Hall of Fame players, and they have nights like that. And you as a checking centerman are going to have more nights like that. And he didn't want me to dwell on it, wanted me to learn from it. And really, he came in so I would probably sleep at night because we had Pittsburgh coming in with Mario
The next day.
And he said, hey, we need you to be ready to play Saturday. And we got a big game against Pittsburgh, and I can't have you, wallowing around for the next 2 days. And it was something that really stuck with me for a long time. And, it more or less taught me a lot about empathy and caring for your players. And that really stuck with me, even till today.
You held Mario to what, 4 points?
Yeah,
that night,
yeah.
probably.
Really shut him down.
Yeah. Would that have been the year though that then you guys ended up playing the Penguins
Yeah.
in the playoffs?
Yeah.
So what was that game's David Volek?
Yeah.
Where were you when that goal scored? Like,
I was in bed in a black room, to be honest.
What?
I got hurt, and I got hurt against Pittsburgh early in the series on a face-off with Ron Francis. His butt end caught me in the eye, and I had bleeding in the back of my eye, and I needed to, for 48 hours or whatever, sit in a dark room, and I tried to come back and play game 6, and I skated, went to the eye doctor again, and it re-bled. So again, I had to go sit in no light, zero light, and I was done. I didn't get to play the game.
I thought I was bringing back this
Yeah,
awesome
yeah,
memory
no.
for you, and you're like, wow.
I mean, it was a great memory being on
back
that
of my eye.
team, but it was, part of playoff hockey. So
Yeah. But just back to Al for a second, like that, it is remarkable. You ever think about that? Like that late 80s, early 90s was not a time where the word empathy would have been used in anyone's vocabulary, let alone a coach in an NHL room. Do you ever think about like he was ahead of his time?
Yeah, I think, when people talk about Al, they'd probably be a little bit surprised at that story because he was a rough and gruff guy. But I think when you got to know Al and players that actually played under him, he was a really caring guy and really cared for his players. And yet when he did an interview or something like that, you probably would have never, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. You wouldn't have seen that side of him. And, but he was a great coach, Hall of Fame coach. And, he was, he's a Hall of Fame person too.
Rough and gruff guy who's actually nice on the inside. It remind you of anybody?
A little bit.
Jackson?
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe taking it to a different kind of perspective here, but you mentioned the eye, the issue you had. I've also heard that you're red-green colorblind.
I am colorblind.
I have a couple questions related to that a little bit. First off, your last name's Green. Does that ever does anyone bring that up at any point?
You're the first, Jackson.
I'm the first.
Yeah,
okay.
So congrats.
Yeah. Thank you. And second, does that ever cause issues on the ice, like with jerseys? I'm curious.
It hasn't very often.
Okay.
It is sometimes it's challenging when you're picking out a tie or something like that. But I do have a story once where it was in Utica. Bomber and I were in Utica coaching, and we were doing a drill, and I wasn't happy with the drill, and I started yelling like at the green line to get moving. They were screwing up practice. I was probably using a lot harsher words and kind of had a little rant for a good 30 seconds, and everyone was kind of too nervous to say anything to me. And then Bomber skated over. Bomber was even nervous to interrupt, and he skated over and said, "Yeah, there's no green line on the ice." And so it was actually the orange line. So that was the only time. But other than that, it's kind of like one team's white, one team's dark. So
You're able to tell.
Actually, I only knew this because last year, a couple of times, you would look at my tie and you'd be like, "Hey, what color is that tie?" And that's why. Did you like? So you've obviously had this your whole life.
sometimes I wondered about the color. Sometimes I just didn't like
You
it.
didn't like the tie, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Especially with this guy.
Yeah, exactly. But is that a thing that in childhood you realize at like a certain age,
Yeah,
8,
it's just-
10, 12?
Yeah, you know what? My parents and I figured it out when I was, I don't know, 7 or 8, just doing an eye test. When you pick out those numbers and the dots, and I couldn't get a bunch of them. And I see the colors, but I just don't know what they are.
Yeah.
So
Jackson and I tried to do a lot of prep work for this interview. Okay. I know that probably doesn't seem that way.
Yeah.
And I got to commend you on not leaving any digital footprint out there. Like there's no definitive story about Travis Green, no feature story. So we'd like to delve a little bit into your, like, what was it like growing up and now Castlegar was home?
yeah.
Like, can you explain to us and the listeners, the viewers, what's Castlegar like in British Columbia?
Well, Castlegar is a very small town of between 8 and 10,000 people. I moved there. I was born in Creston. Moved to Castlegar when I was probably 1.
Yeah.
My dad was from Riondell, which is probably a town of 1,000 people. My mom was from Grand Forks, and we ended up in Castlegar. Yeah, spent my whole life there. Small town, played my minor hockey there. Still have a bunch of great friends. My mom and dad still are there. They go down to Arizona for the winter. And there's something to be said about growing up in a small town. I think we had, 2 stoplights, and you kind of know everyone in town. And like I still, consider it home. Go back there in the summer, once a summer, and it was a great place to grow up. I didn't know any better, but I wouldn't have changed anything for the world.
What is that maybe like? Like I have no experience living in a small town or growing up in a small town. Like from the big city, you come to Ottawa, and it's considered a big city for people in a small town. Just what's that like?
Yeah, it was a change when I moved. When I left, I was 15 when I went to Spokane, and it was definitely a change for me, like change of pace, and I hadn't even watched an NHL live game until I think the first game I played in was an exhibition game, and so it was different, and then going from Spokane to even a bigger city when I got to New York was obviously a lot different too. And I think even when you're coaching, I think that understanding where players come from is important, because there's a lot of, I think you get a little bit intimidated a little easier when you're been in a small town your whole life and you haven't been out of it a lot. It's a big change, and it feels a lot different when you get outside your environment that you're used to.
I'm always impressed when I hear for people that the first NHL game they watched was a game they played in.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by that. So because it's quite a ways, right? Castlegar to Vancouver is what? Like the drive is.
Yeah.
It's not like you can make that drive, right, and go.
It's like 7 hours or something. Yeah.
But so you never went to the old Pacific Coliseum?
No, never did. I might have watched one game before I played in one live.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't get an opportunity. It's, my parents weren't driving me to watch NHL games. They were trying to figure out how they're going to have me and my brother play hockey from year to year, and money was tight, so we weren't zipping around buying NHL tickets.
What was your favorite team as a kid growing up? Like, 'cause you come from the era, the same one as me, where there's only Saturday night games, and then I think the odd Wednesday night we would have games, but that was it.
I probably get scolded for saying it, but I started watching hockey when the Canadians were winning Stanley Cups. So watching Guy Lafleur, Ken Dryden, who just passed away, and got to work with Ken when in Toronto, or not work with him. He was part of the Maple Leafs, and just an amazing person. Watching them win, it seemed like they were on Hockey Night in Canada every weekend.
Yeah.
When they were in their glory days. I think as I got a little older, into my teens, that's when I started watching Mario a lot closer, and he became probably my favorite player to watch. And and then once you get drafted, you're out of that who's your favorite team kind of mode.
Yeah.
So
You've played, I guess, on multiple teams, multiple different players. Who's the best chirper that you've played with or against?
Oh man, there's a lot that come to mind. Back, I think years ago, there was a lot more chirpers.
Yeah.
In the
It was
game.
an art form.
Yeah,
back in
it
the
sure
day.
was. There was an art. There was guys that were funny one-liners, and then guys that just went right to the heart. And
Yeah.
Brady's dad was pretty good at it. Darcy Tucker was quite the chirper, and he wasn't one to mince words. It wasn't always witty chirps, but it seemed like every team that you play on, there were guys that were pretty good at it one way or the other. Yeah.
You ever, when Big Walt comes on one of these dad's trips, you ever go down memory lane about the chirps?
Oh, yeah, we do. We still chirp each other as like we were playing together.
Yeah. We were looking at your hockey reference page and looking, you obviously we mentioned Al Arbor, but you coached, Mike Sullivan coached you in Boston, Paul Maurice in Toronto, and those guys are still coaching now. So we're curious, like when you're in the hallway, and I know coaches don't often run into each other, but like What's that dynamic like when you actually played for a guy and now you're coaching against him? And do you ever get a chance to catch up on a personal level?
Yeah, I mean, Sully and I we played together too, and are a lot closer in age. So it was, I would say we were closer just because we were teammates for a while. And he was a young coach coming in, and I was near the end of my career when I ended up playing for him, which was, I mean, we still laugh about it because it was, it was different. And so we still joke about it once in a while. And yeah, you could see that Sully was going to be a great coach, even at a younger age. And I really valued that year with him. Just, we had a different type of relationship that most player coaches do, and he could call me in and talk about the team, and as an older guy in the team, what I felt and maybe how I could help him a little bit as well. Knew my game extremely well, which was nice. With Paul, Paul was a guy that, I was really impressed when I played under him. It wasn't long, but he was influential in my decision of what I was going to do, because I remember my last year, would have been my last year in Toronto, I believe, that Paul called me in at the end of the year, and we just talked. I was near the end of my career, and you get older, and he was one that said to me, he'd only told a couple people this, 2 other players, and that he thought I should get into coaching, just from being around me, listening to me, and one of them was Rod Brindamore, and I took it to heart, and I think I ended up playing half a year in Switzerland the next year, and then got right into coaching.
Interesting.
So we still, when I see Paul, we still catch up and talk, and you develop friendships. Some of the coaches I know well, and some you don't know, I don't know at all.
If Paul Maurice doesn't have that conversation with you and you don't go down the coaching road, what's Travis Green doing today?
Man, good question. I've always been in love with the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could envision myself not being in the game in some capacity. I think would have tried to get into management in some way, maybe. I was fortunate that when I went to Portland, I got to kind of play on both sides, being assistant GM and assistant coach there. But if I wasn't in the world of hockey, I'm not sure what I would have done, to be honest.
Media?
Yeah, probably not.
No, probably not. Eh?
Talk a little about mentorship earlier of young reporters. Could you see yourself in the classroom as a teacher or a professor?
I don't.
No.
I don't think I'd have the patience for it, but who knows? Maybe I would have gotten to media. Maybe I'd always toyed around with even going back to school, and when I was younger, I know that I had thought about being a lawyer before I played hockey and actually made the NHL. That was something that I had in the back of my mind, but I don't know. I've been very fortunate. The game's given me a lot, and anytime. I always dreamt of playing in the NHL. I didn't think I would, play as long as I did, and then to coaches, I'm always grateful for what the game has given me, and to be in the NHL, I don't never take it for granted.
You mentioned maybe being a lawyer. In our research for this interview, we Googled your name.
Yeah.
Did you know that it comes up on, was it Criminal Minds?
Yep, Criminal Minds.
There's a show called Criminal Minds where there was a recurring character named Travis Green.
Wow.
I
did not know this? No, I'm not a big Google guy.
Yeah, not a big, don't Google your own name. Okay, I know you didn't obviously watch Criminal Minds. We're going to wrap up here. One thing I know you did watch last year, we talked about this, and I love the fact that you loved White Lotus.
Yeah.
And I want to know, what are the shows that you watch? And I'm sure it must be a nice escape, to be honest with you, because you're so into it, probably 18 hours a day. This is a job you can't really escape, so you get those moments to escape. White Lotus.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a binger though, so I actually try to. I have to be careful because I will. In the bubble, I remember in the playoffs the one year, with Vancouver when we were in Edmonton in the bubble.
Yeah,
I got into Sons of Anarchy, and I swear I slept about 2 hours a night because I was up all night watching. And then when we lost and we got out of the bubble, I remember I was driving from Vancouver to Castlegar.
Yeah.
And the first gas station I pull up to, there's a gang of bikes.
Come on.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I felt like I was in the gang.
Yeah, right.
And they
Right.
recognized me as the coach of the Canucks, and a couple of them came over and said, "Hey, you know what? Great job." And I was like, "You got to let me sit on your bike." And then so I got a picture on this Harley, and I was like, I'd watched it so much that I felt like I was all of a sudden in the gang. So I haven't been watching a lot lately. I watched Stick, the golf one. That was probably my latest one, and looking forward to another one.
Okay, we're going to wrap up. One final question.
Yep.
You mentioned driving from Vancouver to Castlegar. This is
Yeah.
a driving-related question.
Can I
And we're-
preface by saying he's brought this up to everyone?
Yeah, every
and
guest gets this question,
okay.
and I want to know. When Travis Green is coming to Canadian Tire Center,
Yes.
does Travis Green exit on Terry Fox Drive or Palladium Drive?
To be honest, I take the back road right across.
You take
So
the
I don't
back,
have to
so
get
you're,
on.
you're never
No,
on the highway.
I'm not on the highway.
Okay.
Small town guy.
Yeah.
Small town
so it's
guy.
perfect. And
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the roads yet. I just put it on I still put it on my maps and
And just go.
just go. I don't get on the highway. I do know that though.
Love it.
Okay, we'll leave it
So,
there. Well,
yeah.
Travis, we appreciate you dropping by the pod.
All
We
right,
really do. We
yeah.
appreciate maybe trying to show off this side of you a little bit to our fans. Look at the
Yeah.
smirk. You can see this.
You know I don't like that.
No, I know you don't like that, but we appreciate it. And hopefully this season, maybe better chemistry. Jackson
Oh, I
and
think so.
We'll
Travis
see.
Green. Yeah,
we'll see. He might. I don't want him to get cocky and get ahead of himself.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
So.
Love it.
Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
guys. Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, Jackson, lots to unpack there.
Yep.
Now, be honest, and we've had a handful of guests that have dropped by. We try to create a fun, home-like environment,
We
right?
do.
Even with the furniture,
Comfy chairs, Del Decor.
the Labubu.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
giving those vibes. But was that the most of the guests that we've had? Is that the most? And we kind of touched on this in the chat with them. I don't know if intimidating is the right word. Like what? How would you describe? And
I don't know. I think
be honest.
like for example, when I talk with Travis Green, when it's hockey related, I'm prepping, right? Like certain amount of questions. This is what we're talking about, and it was the same thing for here. More prep, maybe a little bit less of a flow than what we've seen with the other players, in the sense that like I was more prepped, more ready for it. Maybe not intimidating, but yeah, a little nervous going into it.
Yeah.
But it was good. It worked out, I think.
What? Okay. Now let's debrief here.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be worse for you? And I can answer this question too.
Yeah.
If you're like your dad yelled at you right now, or Travis Green, what would scare you more?
It's a good question. I think Travis Green would honestly scare me more, because my dad, I'd just be like, dude, what are you doing here?
Oh
Right?
man, I wish you could. I'd like to see you try that with
Travis Green.
Also,
Oh, yeah,
I like
exactly.
that you call your dad dude. by the
Yeah,
way.
pretty much.
Do you?
Yeah, we have a good relationship, my dad and I think. But I
We'll
think
find
enough
out.
to the point where that if he yelled at me, he wouldn't yell at me, first of all. But if he were to
He
yell at me,
wouldn't. Oh, the golden child.
yeah,
of course.
no, I don't think he'd yell at me. But yeah, if Travis Green yelled at me, I think anyone would be pretty terrified.
Yeah.
Right? Would you be scared?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's not even a huge age gap between us. I'm like, I'm still intimidated. So,
Exactly.
it was a great conversation with
For
him. I
sure.
thought the fascinating stuff, the story he told about yelling at guys about the green line.
Yep. Oh, that's
Like,
great. That's great.
That's remarkable.
So funny,
Right?
And the fact that Bomber, who's still Nolan Baumgartner, who's still with the team here, was part of it and was like, "Come on, man, we don't have a green line on the ice."
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It is. And,
Yeah.
and I still get it from time to time. He will chirp me. Sometimes he'll chirp my tie
Yeah.
or whatever. And I always think like, what are you seeing?
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. It's nuts. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I mean, he's not obviously the only one who lives with it. Like, people live with it on a day-to-day basis, but it's an interesting thing that you don't really think about for people who have that going on in their life. Right?
No. Okay. So, and we can tease another episode we have coming up, because Travis Green, current head coach of the Ottawa Senators, we have had a conversation with a former head coach of the Ottawa Senators, Paul McLean.
Yep.
Which was a fun conversation.
Really was,
Okay.
yep.
I'm going to ask you if you could interview and put in that seat now any coach in hockey history. Okay.
Oof.
Doesn't have to be a Senators head coach. You could interview any head coach in Ottawa history or NHL history. Who are you picking?
It's a good question. Oh, Like even you gave me a couple seconds while you were still talking to
Yeah,
think
I'm
about
trying
it, and I still couldn't think about
It's
it.
called ragging the puck. When you rag
It's,
the puck for your teammate.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be one of the old school guys,
Like Toe Blake?
I was thinking Toe Blake,
Like-
exactly.
Do you know how Toe Blake got his nickname?
How?
'Kay.
I don't.
So his name is Hector.
Okay.
His real name is Hector Blake.
Okay.
His little sister couldn't, just as like my daughter couldn't say Tim Hortons and
Yeah.
say Tim Hortons, his little sister couldn't call him Hector and called him Hecto. And it got just shortened to Toe. Imagine that.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Kind of crazy. Because
It
you
is
would
nuts.
think, especially like those coaches from the 40s and 50s, you're like, wow, this guy, something happened to his toe got blown off in an accident or something at a
Exactly.
factory. No, his sister just couldn't.
That's crazy. It's like those old nicknames in the days, like Spiky One Arm Anderson or something from baseball.
One-eyed
like,
Frank McGee.
One-eyed Frank McGee. Exactly. Good point. Yeah, just crazy.
The best one in baseball, Mordecai Three-Fingered Brown.
Wow.
That was his name, Three-Fingered Brown.
Three-fingered Brown.
Yeah, and he had a different spin on the ball because of
Three fingers.
three fingers.
Crazy. Yeah. Hey, Toe Blake. I think it'd be
Toe
Toe Blake. I think that'd be
But
my
like,
answer.
what do you ask? Like, the ghost of Toe Blake. Toe Blake comes down here and he's sitting in here. What are you asking him?
He must have so many stories from back in the day, right? Like just
You asking about like what was the walk-in hallway like
Yeah,
for you?
exactly.
Like did guys walk in and get with different suits?
I'm curious to see what his perspective would be on what the game, like how the game's changed, right? Like that'd be crazy to just for him to sit there and watch.
Just walking by. Rocket. Hey, by the way, Rocket Richard's mic'd up tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'd be one of those huge microphones because it's the 1950s.
He's carrying like the whole thing on his shoulder. Crazy. No, I think mine'd be Toe Blake. You? Anyone?
You know what? I would go with former Ottawa Senators head coach Dave Allison.
Huh.
He was only here for like 7 weeks.
Yep.
He only won 2 games, but everything I hear is that this guy was a super colorful, unique character. There's rumors that he was like trying to get the bad energy out by having like a seance.
Yep. I heard about
Like
that. Yeah.
like, was there a Ouija board involved?
Crazy.
I don't know. I don't know.
We could get
You're
one out
wasting
here.
your time on Toe Blake.
I think
I
you're
don't
right.
think Toe Blake used the Ouija board,
he
but there's like
probably
a
did.
non-0% chance that Dave Allison did. And I think that makes for a better podcast.
I
no?
wonder if he'd be the only coach in NHL history to have potentially used a Ouija board in any situation.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Tortorella? No, I don't think so.
Maybe.
I don't know, Torts
I don't know.
doesn't-
He doesn't seem like a Ouija board
No,
type of
he's
guy.
not the dark
No.
arts type of guy.
No, he doesn't seem like
Torts.
that.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun with,
Yeah.
with Travis Green. We have a future episode, like we said, coming up with Paul McLean.
Yeah.
We have future episodes coming up with some, other alumni. We love to hear from you. If you want us to track down, alumni, ex-players, coaches, things of that nature. We've had people say like, oh, you guys should have equipment staff on. People who've played the role of Spartacat, although there's a lot of gray area there.
There is,
Are they
for
allowed
sure.
to speak?
We don't know. We still don't know the answer to that question. But yeah, and also if you want to delve in on the conversation, like if you got any coaches from back in the day that you think would be great to have here on the podcast or would have been great to have on the podcast, let us know.
Let them know. What's the
Yeah.
email address? Jackson?
Communications@ottawasenators.com.
He listens.
I listen.
Wow.
I listen.
I didn't think
Don't
you
worry.
knew it.
I listen. It's a reporter. You got to listen a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Only a little bit.
That's the sound. That's the sound of a good reporter. How much do you
Exactly.
listen?
Only a
Just
little
bit.
bit. Yeah.
Just a little bit. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this podcast a little bit because we
little bit.
enjoyed having Travis Green. Again, these are always fun. Keep those emails rolling in. Communications@ottawasenators.com, and we'll catch you next time.